Hi folks, it's Ulrich Peiser with GuitarIngenuity.com. Today's question is, how much does an acoustic guitar cost? So, the price spectrum is really broad. It can go anywhere from as little as $30 up to thousands of dollars. Usually though, the question is being asked by a person who is not sure yet or has made a decision to start learning to play the guitar and now wants to find out, how much money do I have to spend on a decent acoustic guitar? So again, if you look at that broad spectrum, in my personal opinion, and opinions vary on that, and I acknowledge that, anywhere from $100 to $200, $250 is probably a very good range for you to get started. That will make sure that you get an instrument that is adequate for learning purposes. I wouldn't go below $100 because chances are you'll get yourself a toy, but not an instrument. But above $250 is probably a little bit an overkill at this point. Later on, it's a different story. Once you had a chance to play several guitars, you probably have a pretty good understanding what your next instrument should look like, and you know where you want to go, and therefore you can then figure out a good price point for you. So again, $100 to $200, $250 is a very good range to get yourself a decent instrument. On the topic of acoustic guitar, well, it's important to distinguish what type of acoustic guitar. So obviously it's not an electric guitar, but there are several different categories within the overarching category of acoustic guitars. What you see here to my left is a so-called Western guitar. Western guitar is basically, it means that it has steel strings. These strings sound very different from nylon strings, which is what you see here on a classical guitar. Now both models, both types of guitars are called acoustic guitars, yet they're very different in terms of playability and the way they sound. Now again, opinions vary. Some guitar teachers say it doesn't matter whether you get yourself a classical guitar with nylon strings or a Western guitar. Some actually prefer a Western guitar. In my opinion, if you just start to learn the instrument, I would go with nylon strings and therefore a classical guitar. I believe the strings are a little bit softer on your fingers, and I believe it's a little bit easier for you to learn on a classical instrument. However, again, I acknowledge there are different opinions out there. But since I have this instrument on my lap right here, this particular one is the Yamaha C40. It's my personal recommendation for guitar beginners. It's available through Amazon. It's around $130 or $150, and it comes as a starter kit. So you get a gig bag and a guitar tuner, a set of strings, and a couple of other accessories that are useful. I personally play this instrument, and I can attest that it's a very decent acoustic guitar, especially for beginners and slightly advanced players. Does it have to be that guitar? No, it's just one example that fits into that price range of $100 to $250, for which I can personally vouch for that it's a decent instrument. So, a last tip. What I recommend that you should do is, chances are that within your circle of friends or your family members, somebody already plays guitar. Ask that person whether you can borrow that guitar. It doesn't matter whether it's a Western guitar or a nylon string, meaning classical guitar. Just get yourself familiar with the instrument, and that will, give you a chance to make a decision. Hey, do I want to go with a classical guitar or a guitar that has steel strings, meaning a Western guitar? It's always easier and much cheaper to borrow an instrument from somebody as opposed to spend money on something you're not really certain whether it's right for you or not. You can obviously also email me with questions, and I'd be more than happy to help you finding the right instrument for you. My email address is guitaringenuity, one word, @gmx.com. More than happy to help you navigating through that decision-making process. I hope I see you next time. Till then, bye-bye. you.